Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to Scuderia Prestige, I'm taking you on an in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust sound video of this 2020 Mini John Cooper Works GP. Scuderia Prestige have this, in addition to many of the high specification cars for sale at the time of publishing, and all of their contact details can be found in the description of the video. The Mini GP line was started in 2006 and continued in 2013 with its new car's predecessor. Mini uses the GP moniker similar to how Porsche uses RS, to symbolise the most hardcore version of their cars. In GP cars, you can find a limited edition product with bigger wheels, more power, less weight, and a more aero-focused exterior design. This theme is especially true with this latest GP that was announced to celebrate Mini's 60th birthday, and we'll explore all of its features throughout the video. 2020 GP is based fundamentally on the standard John Cooper Works Mini, and as such, I'll make comparisons to it throughout the video. 3,000 individually numbered 2020 Mini GPs will be made, with 575 staying in the UK. They come in at 3,879mm long, 3mm longer, 1,762mm wide, 20mm wider, 1,420mm high, 10mm lower, and a curb weight of 1,255 kilograms, 10 kilograms lighter than the standard JCW. We can now move to the engine, but before we can explore it in more detail, we first need to open the bonnet. This can be done by first unlatching it using the lever found to the right side of the driver's footwell. Just as in its BMW counterparts, 2 pulls ensures the lid is completely unlatched and can be lifted straight up and secured by 2 struts. Looking down and just in front of these, we find one of the car's braces to enhance rigidity and stability. GP is powered by an uprated version of the current JCW hatch engine, a front-mounted 2-litre, single twin-scroll turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that produces 306 brake horsepower and 450 Nm of torque. This represents an increase of 74 brake horsepower and 98 pounds-feet over the non-GP JCW. This increase in performance also improves the car's output, with a 0 to 62 mph 100 km/h time of 5.2 seconds and a top speed of 164 mph, 1.1 seconds quicker to 62, and an 11 mph faster top speed. Once finished in the front, the bonnet can be carefully dropped down or pressed at the front to secure it. As we've finished with the engine, we can then move down to the corners, where this latest GP comes the new 18-inch front and rear forged wheels that are the lightest on any Mini. Braking performance comes from brakes that are actually from the Mini Club and JCW, so bigger than the usual hatchback's discs, 360mm at the front and 330mm at the rear. This latest GP rides 10mm lower thanks to new McPherson sport suspension at the front, a multi-link setup at the rear and new dampers. It also comes with a 20mm wider track at the front to further enhance stability and improve the aesthetic. And finally, there's a limited slip differential for more dynamic drive. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the exterior tour from front to back. At the front, we find the same lower air intake that is broken into 3. Centrally, we find a new grille design. The grille has been removed on the side intakes to allow greater airflow into the radiators and lateral air intake channels for brake cooling. The lateral intakes that were closed in JCW have been opened up here to ensure enhanced airflow into the radiators and engine. Moving up, we find a wider intake below the number plate. The smooth gloss black bumper that's above this in the JCW, where the number plate mounts, has been flattened here and given the grille's pattern. There's also a new intake above this grille. These new additions enhance GP's aesthetic, but also contribute to improved airflow into the engine bay for its enhanced performance. Moving up to the bonnet and we come to the badge and faux intake, unchanged from the standard GP. On either side of this are the LED main beams with their LED ring daytime running lights. As we continue back along the bonnet, we eventually come to the iconic upright windscreen with 2 wipers below. Running back from the top of this is the smooth, virtually featureless roof. I don't believe a sunroof is an option here. Before moving to the rear, we can move down to the side to GP's lateral aspect. At the bottom, we find the same side skirt as in the standard JCW, but now there's a new GP decal above it. To the front and back of the side skirts are the unavoidable wheel arch flares that have been added to help widen the car's track and create an unmistakable aesthetic, a feature I mentioned earlier. These rise up from the lateral extensions to the front splitter and are made from carbon. They also come with the car's build number out of 3000, seen top right. At this corner, we also find the lateral indicators that are on most, if not all, Minis. In GP, the JCW text has been removed in favour of a more minimal design. The unchanged electrically adjustable wing mirrors are behind these as we continue to move along the car, as are the thick black convex door handles. Behind and below these we come to the rear carbon arch flares. As we take a closer look, we can see how they've been designed to allow efficient airflow and a more sculpted aesthetic. The flare on the right comes with a slight cutout at the top for the fuel tank cap. When the car is unlocked, this can be pulled out easily to reveal the screw top. Mini GP comes with an unchanged 40 litre fuel tank and returns a combined MPG of 34. Now we've finished laterally, we can move back up to the roof. At the rear, we find the shark's fin antenna, and then the extreme roof-mounted spoiler that comes with a slight rubber gurney flap to its rear, further enhancing downforce. These extended rooftop wings are a feature in all Mini GP models, but this is by far the most aggressive. It is comprised of a single wing floor, which is separated by a central division, essentially creating a dual-level roof-mounted spoiler that projects quite far back from the rear of the car. Under the lowest point of the wing, we find the high-level LED rear light complex that comes with the other Minis. Now, at the very rear of GP, we can move down to the rear light complexes with their Union Jack pattern, an iconic Mini feature. Continuing down, and we come to an entirely new diffuser. The standard JCW side grills have been removed, and the top black panel now runs the whole length of the rear as it integrates to the lowest part of the side flares. Looking centrally, we find the new 90mm dual-exit stainless steel sports exhaust. We will hear this later in the video. Now we've finished the exterior in-depth tour, we can move inside. GP comes with a standard mini fob with buttons to lock, unlock, and unlock the boot. Other than some quite modest changes that we'll explore in full detail later in the video, GP's interior is very similar to that in the standard JCW. We can now start the interior in-depth tour with the doors. The top of the door panel begins in the same way as in JCW, with the physical lock indicator and a small indentation towards the end. Below this, the gloss black cover for this ridge that comes in JCW has been removed here, possibly for weight saving. Before the ridge descends, we come to the same door release with the interior lock controls. Continuing down, we come to the leather upholstered and padded armrest. As we move along this, we come to the integrated door handle, the electric window and mirror controls, and the first speaker for the standard system. A 12-speaker Harman Kardon system is also available for the standard JCW cars, and may therefore be an option for this. At the bottom of the door, we come to the open door storage area, which is also unchanged. Moving left, we come to the sill. As mentioned, GP sits 10mm lower than the standard JCW, but I imagine this is unnoticeable during ingress and egress. Now looking at the sill in more depth, we find its bespoke GP kickplate and floor mats. And continuing along, we come to the pedals, bonnet release and exterior light controls. Above these, we find the steering wheel. GP's wheel stops with a 12 o'clock marker, a new feature over JCW. Then the basic cruise control buttons to the left. A more advanced cruise control setup is also available. Buttons for hands-free, calls and for the screen above, and volume and to the right. And finally, the removal of the JCW badge at the bottom. With the key fob in the car, it can easily be started by depressing the brake and holding down the red on-off switch in the central column. We can now hear the car's exhaust and view the indicators and daytime running lights. Now moving back inside, but before we look at the digital instrument cluster, we can look at the 3D printed metal gear shifters for the car's 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, the only option available for GP. Unfortunately, there were some display issues here, but the screen and software are unchanged from JCW. Moving up from the instrument display, we come to the dash. It is formed from two tiers, just as in the standard Mini, and comes with side and screen venting and what could be a speaker or further venting centrally. If the Harman Kardon system was fitted, there would be additional tweeters above the lateral vents. Moving down on the left side, we come to the rubber insert above the glove compartment that comes with each car's specific build number. To the right of this is the now well-known Mini Infotainment Display that comes with the hazard light controls at the top, radio and media controls below, and an LED surround. Going from right to left, we start with media and radio. Here, we can access the DAB and FM radio, in addition to Bluetooth and USB connections with devices for extended media options. Communication comes after this for the contacts list, to make calls and access recent calls, and access Mini assistants. The function to write and store notes or memos can also be found here. Above communication, we find the notification screen. Now moving to the left side of the screen, we start with Mini Connected, where assistants can be accessed. This menu also offers the concierge service, which is essentially an information service. Then messages, and finally vehicle apps such as Alexa, weather, news, online search, and WikiLocal. Continuing down, we come next to My Mini, which offers general setup and settings. If we go into vehicle settings, we find options for exterior lighting, the key, speed warning graphic, ventilation, and tracking. Moving out of this, we can go down and enter vehicle status that offers information for tyre pressure, oil level, check assistance, service requirements and schedule, and the assistance screen. The three final options are technology in action for assistance systems and sport displays, driving information, and a digital copy of the owner's handbook. The final menu option is the sat-nav. Addresses can be manually input and recent destinations can be searched for here, but the map can also be accessed and manipulated via touch, including pinch and spread. Finally, there's a home button in the top left that brings up frequently used menus. Below the screen, we find three rotaries with digital displays. These are for the dual zone climate system and offer controls for temperature and fan speed. The button array below these offers controls for left 3-stage heated seat, front demist, rear demist, recirculation, AC, max AC, and right heated seat. Underneath we find three switches. These are for the engine stop-start function, engine on-off, and the traction control. The final features on this part of the central column are the 12-volt input, USB, and Thunderbolt 3 input. The flat section of the central column starts with two open cup holders. The gear selector is behind this for the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. This stick comes with park hold at the top and the ability to be used manually for sequential shifting by pushing it to the left. Continuing back, we come to the physical controls for the infotainment system, media, map, menu, communication and nav, with the rotary and back-end options controls behind. Above and behind this control array is the adjustable armrest that appears to come with integrated speakers. The top can be unlatched and opened to reveal a small amount of storage and wireless charging. And the whole unit can be lifted out of the way using the catch to the front. With the armrest moved, we get more room in the centre and a better look at the physical handbrake. Once finished, the armrest can be easily brought down and secured. To the outside of these, we find the Dynamica and leather upholstered, manually adjustable sports seats, which are standard here, but the leather comfort seats are an option. These are differentiated from those in the other models by their GP badges. Their manual controls can be found to the front and to the outside edges. Once finished with the seats, we can move into the rear of GP by pulling the catch of the seat's outside shoulder. The rear can also be accessed from opening the boot lid, and once inside we find a very stripped out and minimal area. For increased weight saving, the rear has been completely stripped out, with only a thick red brace put in place to enhance stability even further. The loss of the rear seats does increase standard storage capacity, from 211 litres in JCW to 612 litres here. Looking inside in more detail, we find a very deep storage area with a compartment to the left and the sub for the speaker system to the right. Once this has been closed up, we can move back to the front briefly and focus on the car's remaining features. Below the custom insert on the passenger side, we come to the unchanged glove compartment that offers a very usable amount of capacity. Looking up, we come to the large, padded, leather upholstered sun visors that come with vanity mirrors. Moving centrally, we find the microphones for the hands-free system, along with buttons for the SOS beacon and the front light strip. Finally, we come to the rear view mirror. So that concludes my in-depth exterior and interior tour of this 2020 Mini JCW GP, for sale with Scuderia Prestige at the time of publishing. All of their contact details can be found in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.